So we have big breaking news coming out of Malawi this morning. Apparently police have arrested the director of the Anti-Corruption Bureau, the ACB, this morning. So apparently Martha Chizuma was arrested in relation to a phone conversation in which she discussed some work-related issues with some random guy over the phone. Now, that is shocking, even more shocking than the arrest of the vice president that we saw recently. But also, at the same time, this is not shocking at all. If you know Malawian politics, you know that people in the Chakwera administration don't like Chizuma. You know that people in the Mutharika administration don't like Chizuma. We even know that people in the civil society have access to grind with Chizuma. So the arrest comes as a shock, as a story, but also not shocking in terms of Malawian politics. But at the end of the day, though, Chizuma asked for this. She gave the enemies the keys to say, look, come and get me. She does a dangerous job, and she shouldn't have been on the phone talking about those things with a rando over an insecure TNM or Airtel line. People, everywhere else in the world, her job is dangerous. Even in Malawi, it's dangerous. We saw how someone in her own department, Mr. Njawuju, was killed brutally and thrown out mafia style. So that job is dangerous. You can't just, be talking with some randos over the phone and discussing work-related issues. People, you saw in Britain how the Home Secretary was forced to resign because she sent a document relating to her work to her colleague using a personal email. And that was just after the Defense Secretary was also forced to resign after she diverged some issues that were being discussed in the National Security Council. And in the US, we all know how the Republicans can't shut up about Hillary Clinton using personal emails for work. And after that, there was, Ivanka Trump. She also used personal emails, and it's big. In the US, the CIA people have to use, government-issued phones. They can't just use their emails. And, in the US, there are decrees. Like, for example, Mr. Biden declared that they can't use, Chinese computers or equipment, communication equipment in government offices. These things are serious because there's espionage. People are looking for clues, to find dirt on you. So if you're a government official, you can't just be leaving yourself out there, for people to exploit you. Who was the guy that she was talking to? What was the relationship with her anyway? You can't just bring in some rando. It's like in journalism where I come from. Every morning you sit down and you discuss news ideas. So today I'm doing this story, and your friends will help you. You pick this angle. You should probably talk to this guy. Here's the phone number. Sometimes in the newsrooms there are plants, so government officials and party officials will have plants in there, some more, some spies, and they will say, oh, so and so is doing a story about you, and then they will get an injunction. They will try very hard to suppress that story. They will not give you the information because they have information beforehand that such and such a story is being done about you. And it's so frustrating to have people like that. And for the director of the ACB to put herself in a situation where people could have dirt on her, that was just no. And it shouldn't have come from her. It should have been someone else at the ACB talking about those things, It's not uncommon for people in intelligence agencies like the ACB, the police, to involve outside sources. The CIA is very good at planting stories among the journalists. So they will leak out stories that they want to drum support for. But they don't do it in the way she did. For example, I'll give you an example of what the Israeli Defense Force did. The IDF issued out an alert and saying that, oh yeah, the ground army is going to enter Gaza. And every publication picked up that story. Even Hamas was tricked that story was going to happen. And then they wrote it, and then they changed the situation on the battleground using intelligence like that. In the end, it was not true, and people were like, oh yeah, we've been tricked. But that's what happens. The US does misinformation. You can leak stories, but you have to do it intelligently. What Chizuma did is actually a crime. It's actually a crime. There have been people who have been arrested for things like that. So no. The arrest might be politically motivated. The arrest might be coming at a strange time, seeing as Mr. Chakwera already forgave her. She issued a warning to her, so why is the arrest coming now? You would have so many questions to ask pertaining to her arrest. But it's also legitimate. It's a very legitimate arrest. She fucked up, and she might actually get convicted over this. A right-thinking judge might look at it and be like, yeah, these are government matters. She probably signed an NDA that she cannot discuss these issues with other people, and then she could go on to go to prison over something that shouldn't have happened. NDA, it's just sad. It's just sad that it's come to this. I hope that Mr. Chakwera will have the sense to cut this short, because if he lets Chizuma hang, then he's secretly trying to protect something in his administration, and he might be in for a surprise, because the next guy that comes might be even more rampant and rapid than Chizuma. But yes, I don't have much sympathy for Chizuma, because she put herself in a vulnerable position, and she was exploited, and she was betrayed, and now this.